Why, hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being patient as I've navigated a lot of different things recently. I was away to present at the Canadian Historical Association annual conference in PEI. I had a wonderful time and that took a lot of my time, so I haven't had the time to put together a script for a video, but I did want to talk to you about some death books that I think you should read because I love death. If you're here, you might like death too, and if you don't, that's okay because some of those are great introductions to start thinking about how we die and all the other implications around the end of our lives. Now, if you are new here, my name is Amélie. I am a researcher in death history. I'm an MA student. I also am the general manager of a small business in children's entertainment, and I work full-time in marketing. And here at Death Before Decaf, we like to talk about studying and working and being productive, and also lately loving talking about death. So for today, that's what we're going to be doing. So all that being said, if you are fascinated by death, funerals, cemeteries, autopsies, or just any sort of weird ways in which humans cope with mortality, I have an entire stack of books recommendations for you today. Some of these are funny, some of them are deeply disturbing, some are more on the academic side, and some, actually most of these, genuinely changed the way that I think about grief and death forever. I split these into categories depending on your level of interest because not everybody just wants to immediately jump into forensic anthropology and decomposition science on day one. That's fine. So whether you are death curious, death not at all, you're just looking for something to read, or you're a big old death nerd, these are some books that I have in my house that I think you should read. It is by no means an exhaustive list. I wouldn't even say it's a list of my favorites necessarily. It's just some excellent recommendations. So let's go. So we're going to be starting with the gateway drugs of death literature, which is the work of Caitlin Doughty. My first recommendation, of course, has to be Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. This is part memoir, part behind the scenes funeral industry expose. Caitlin Doughty writes about her time working at a crematorium, and she balances humor with very profound emotional reflections on how modern Western culture hides death away. It is hilarious, it is very accessible, and it's probably the best entry point into reading about death for any sort of beginner. The next one, I have to apologize because the cover is gone and I don't know where it went, but it is called From Here to Eternity, also by Caitlin Doughty. This one follows Caitlin Doughty traveling around the world to explore different funerary traditions, from Indonesian preservation rituals to Mexican Day of the Dead celebrations. It's really perfect if you're interested in cultural attitudes towards death and you maybe want something that feels a little bit more anthropological and travel oriented. From Here to Eternity is a good pick. And her third book so far is called Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? And this one is easily the most approachable and the funniest on the list. It is structured around real questions that children have asked about death, decomposition, cremation, bodies in space, all of it. And somehow it manages to be very educational without feeling either heavy or clinical. So another great one. We are moving on to my second category, which is funeral home behind the scenes. If what fascinates you the most is the funeral industry itself, embalming, family dynamics, funeral homes, and all the messy stuff behind the curtains, these are a great selection. The first one I have is Mortuary Confidential by Kenneth Mackenzie and Todd Hara. It's basically a collection of stories from funeral directors across North America. It's chaotic, it is darkly funny, sometimes it is horrifying, and it gives a very honest look at what funeral workers actually deal with every day. The next book is from the same authors, and it continues in that same spirit, but it digs even deeper into funeral industry culture and the emotional weirdness that surrounds death care work. So these two books are really great if you like candid storytelling and industry gossip. And then there is Confessions of a Funeral Director by Caleb White. This one is a very small one. It is much more emotional and reflective. Wilde does an incredible job talking about compassion fatigue, grief, burnout, and what it means to spend your entire life surrounded by mourning families. It's a lot less sensational than the first two, and I find that it is more deeply human, perhaps. So that's my third recommendation for that category. The next category is coroners, autopsies, and forensics. If you're the kind of person who watched every forensic show growing up and immediately want to know how bodies actually decompose, welcome to this category. The first one is Blood on the Table by Colin Evans. It focuses on famous forensic investigations and how pathology helped solve them. It reads almost like true crime history, but it has a much more stronger emphasis on forensic science itself, because I'm not a big true crime girly, but I'm interested in the forensics and in death itself. My next recommendation is called Morgue by Vincent DiMeo. It is written by one of the most famous forensic pathologists in America. It covers real autopsy cases. I think they are all in New York City. But he has, covered the autopsies of Lee Harvey Oswald and even Trayvon Martin. So it explains how medical examiners determine cause of death, for example. It can be graphic at times, but it is incredibly fascinating and very important. And if you want realism, then this is probably it for you. My next recommendation is my favorite from this list. It's called All That Remains by Sue Black. It combines forensic anthropology with personal reflections about mortality, anatomy, what bones can tell us about human life. It is intelligent, it is moving, and it is surprisingly philosophical as well. And the last one on this list is called Death's Acre by Bill Bass and John Jefferson. This book tells the story of the Body Farm. If you do not know, it is a forensic research facility where human decomposition is studied scientifically. If you've ever wondered how investigators estimate things like time of death, this is the book for you. It's really good. My next category is about the curious and the strange of death, for people who enjoy the strange side of death history, even though, all of death history is strange in many ways. To begin with, Stiff by Mary Roach. It is a legendary book. It explores all of the bizarre things that humans do with cadavers, from crash testing, medical experiments, decomposition studies, like this. But in a way that is actually hilarious and also very respectful at the same time. From the same author, this is Spook, also by Mary Roach. It shifts toward the paranormal and scientific attempts to study the afterlife, ghosts, near-death experiences, and consciousness. It is skeptical, but it's playful, and it's really perfect if you like sort of fringe science and weird historical experiments. Last one in this category is Rest in Pieces by Bess Lovejoy. It is basically a collection of historical stories about famous dead bodies being stolen, dissected, moved around, fought over, turned into relics, whatever. It is unhinged, but in the best possible way. I really love this book. It also has really, really beautiful visuals inside. Like, look at that. Gorgeous. My last category is a series of books that I could not put in any other category, so I'm calling this the random category. The first one is called The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker. It is probably the most intellectually influential book that is here. Becker argues that most human behavior is fundamentally shaped by our fear of death. It is philosophical, it is psychological, it is existential, and kind of life-altering in many ways. So, this one. This one I hesitated to include, but I figured it might actually help someone. It's called When Children Grieve by John W. James and Russell Friedman. It is a practical grief resource that is focused on helping children process death and loss. If you work with children, if you experience childhood grief yourself, if you're a parent, or if you just want a more compassionate understanding of mourning, this is incredibly valuable. Now this beauty is called Death in the Afterlife by Clifford A. Pickover, another book that just has absolutely beautiful imaging. It's just so pretty. It explores historical beliefs about what happens after death across cultures and religions and philosophies. It is a really fun, broad survey if you're interested in comparative beliefs about the soul and beyond, and you also just want a gorgeous book that you can leave on your table at any time. My next recommendation has got to be Beloved by Toni Morrison. This is fiction, but it is one of the most, one of the books that has influenced my perspective of research and death and mortality and grief probably ever. It is a monumental piece of writing. It is one of the most devastating and important books about haunting and trauma and memory and grief that is ever written. Morrison turns death and trauma itself into a presence that lingers physically and emotionally. It is heavy, but this is an unforgettable book and you need to read it. This one is a fun one. It's called Understanding Cemetery Symbols by Tui Snyder. We talked about cemeteries in my last video. If you love cemeteries, gravestone iconography, symbolism, or just you want a more stimulating way of wandering around old burial grounds, this is a fun reference book, and it really changes the way you look at historic cemeteries. What I really like about it is that it really is super usable. Like you see all the symbols page by page, and it's like a dictionary of symbols, so you can literally look up what you're seeing in front of you and get sort of historical information about why a tombstone is this way or that way. As a bonus, I figured I would tell you what I am currently reading, which is The Price for Their Pound of Flesh by Dana Ramey Berry. It examines the commodification of enslaved Black bodies throughout American history, both in life and after death. It is, of course, deeply disturbing, but it is incredibly well researched, and it's one of those books that completely reframes how you think about the relationship between things like race and death and medicine and capitalism. And yeah, that's what I've been tackling lately because it's directly related to my research. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate you being here. If you have read any death-related books that you think I absolutely need to add to my list, please leave them in the comments below, because my to-be-read pile is threatening the structural integrity of my apartment, so in the comments, please. And if you want more content about being a student, being productive, death history, cemeteries, mourning stuff, funeral stuff, and all of the strange ways that humans interact with their own mortality, give my channel a quick subscribe. My other social media are also below, and I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video, which will hopefully be a scripted, long-form, informational video. So I will see you there. Bye!